and it will walk within that shaft, and it will show to us for the first time the interior of the pyramid. And it will reveal the mystery that we are going to reveal tonight to everyone.
The Great Pyramid is probably one of the most unique and most precise buildings that has ever been built.
Through the use of LiDAR, they have discovered that there are enormous structures underneath the Great Pyramid that go kilometers deep into the earth.
A sealed stone room inside the Great Pyramid has finally been breached after 4,500 years of silence. No flashy treasure. No inscriptions. Just precision stonework and a deliberate emptiness that stunned the experts who opened it. What was this place? A sacred void, a lost archive, or a hidden engineering key that kept the monument alive for millennia? Using muon scans and a microrobot, a team slipped through a fist-wide borehole and stepped, virtually, into history. In this video, we dig into the revelations, the clues everyone missed, and the unnerving possibility that the emptiness was the point. The void that shouldn't exist. For centuries, the Great Pyramid of Giza was considered one of the most thoroughly explored monuments on Earth. Every corridor, every chamber, and every shaft had been mapped and remapped since antiquarians first crawled inside centuries ago. Scholars argued that there were no more secrets, no more locked spaces waiting to be discovered. Yet in 2017, an international coalition known as the Scan Pyramids Project overturned that assumption. Using cutting-edge technology borrowed from particle physics, they peered into the limestone heart of the pyramid and saw something that should not exist, a massive void above the Grand Gallery, hidden in plain sight for 4,500 years. The tool that made this possible was cosmic ray muon radiography, a method that tracks subatomic particles as they pass through solid structures. Unlike traditional excavation, muons do the work invisibly, passing through stone and revealing density differences. For archaeologists, it was a miracle of modern science, an X-ray powerful enough to see into a world that had been sealed since the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. The data came back slowly, pixel by pixel, until an outline emerged. What they found was not a crack, not an accident of geology, but a deliberately carved anomaly stretching nearly 30 meters. Its scale was astonishing, almost mirroring the dimensions of the Grand Gallery below. This discovery caused an immediate sensation in the Egyptological community. If the builders had made a space like this, how come no ancient record ever mentioned it? There seemed to be no way into any known passageways or chambers, nor did this appear in all those lengthy surveys the modern researchers had been compiling for ages. It was almost as if the builders went to extra lengths to create a hidden room, and then even greater lengths to erase all evidence of its existence. Some felt this silence to be more disturbing than the very void itself. Speculation flared like wildfire. Could this be the sought-after burial chamber of Khufu itself? The gory resting place of the pharaoh who topped the pyramid, whose age would define an era? Or was it something much more practical, a structural cavity, which acts to relieve the crushing weight of millions of tons of stone pressing down from above? Both theories stood, but did not cover all the bases. If this had merely been an engineering solution, then why all the secrecy? Why hide it entirely from accessible passageways, when other relieving chambers were left open above the king's chamber? If it was ceremonial, what did it serve, and why would it be left completely undecorated? The very location of the void added to its mystery. It was just above the Grand Gallery, one of the architectural wonders of the pyramid, a steeply sloping corridor that alone may have symbolic significance. To create a void of nearly the same dimensions above such a feature would almost suggest some sort of intention. It starts to sound like a reflection or echo of the gallery below. Was it to reflect the earthly and celestial above, where the soul would rise to the heavens, while below, the gallery would convey the body of the dead king? Or was it all decorum, a trick chamber meant to befuddle would-be tomb robbers, giving them false hope of searching an empty void while the real burial lay far? Most concerning to the experts was that the very existence of such a chamber contradicts the aforementioned assumptions about pyramid construction. For decades now, it is claimed by many scholars that they have unraveled the architectural logic of the Khufu monument itself, its chambers, shafts, and alignments all having a structural purpose. This completely unknown, massively unknown space enters that narrative and demands contrition from all concerning the fact that the pyramid blueprint is still far more complicated, far more mysterious than previously assumed. The scans were bold, but whispers from the stone and text suggested we should have known it was there all along. Clues in the stone and the stars. The void above the Grand Gallery may have shocked the modern world, but in truth, the pyramid had been whispering about its existence for decades. Anyone who knew where to look could see the hints left behind by its builders, cryptic messages carved into stone, blocked passageways that led to nowhere, and ancient texts that spoke of hidden halls whose locations were never identified. When taken separately, these signs seemed like oddities. But viewed together, they form a trail of evidence that suggests the pyramid was never meant to reveal all of its secrets openly. One of the earliest and most tantalizing clues came not from 2017 but from the early 1990s, when German engineer Rudolf Gantenbrink sent a small robot named U-2 into the narrow shafts of the so-called Queen's Chamber. These shafts, no wider than a human hand, puzzled archaeologists because they didn't lead outside the pyramid, nor did them appear to serve any structural purpose. For over 60 meters, the robot crawled upward through the stone until its path was blocked by something extraordinary, a small limestone door fitted with two mysterious copper pins. The discovery became known as the Gantenbrink door. Behind it lay only speculation. Was it a symbolic barrier, a secret chamber, or a ritual seal? No one could say for certain, but it established a pattern, pathways deliberately closed off, spaces constructed not to be entered, but to be hidden. Then there were the builder's marks, graffiti which seemed so dry and ordinary, but had found its way into the esoteric corridors of construction and into the Great Pyramid. These red ochre inscriptions were left, for example, by work crews well over 4,000 years ago, mostly recording practical ones, team names or assembly guidelines. Yet one phrase stood out across the years: those who guard the secret. Once dismissed as poetic pride, the words took on an entirely new weight after the void's discovery. What were they guarding? What could ancient workers have scrawled when they penned such mediocrity, those who guard the secret? If so, they held it up not just by invasive stone, but by deafening silence. The texts were there, the funerary texts, together with Old Kingdom records, that referred to enigmatic places with names like Hall of Stars and Room of Judgment. Scholars have always argued whether these were mere symbolic descriptions or could also refer to actual physical spaces inside the Great Pyramid complexes. After the year 2017, some Egyptologists said, the void was floated above by the Grand Gallery, obviously aligning itself with those sacred titles. The Hall of Stars, in particular, suggests a connection with the celestial heavens as a place where a pharaoh's soul might rise to join the gods in an enshrouding starry sky. However, the newly discovered chamber appeared for a physical embodiment of such an idea, a holy void ceiling into the heavens? All the blockades, copper-pinning doors, codes in graffiti, and texts lead into a picture. The Great Pyramid spoke of more than just stone stacked for eternity, it coded architecture. Every shaft, chamber, and passage served a double function, one way for the living and the other way for the dead. The secrets of the pyramid were not just accidents waiting to be discovered, but deliberate mysteries intended to exploit wonder and guard knowledge. For all the frustration in modern research, the ancients left just enough to raise endless curiosity and not enough to deliver the truth. And so the Egyptologists were left for decades with two things: with theories and fragments, signposts toward a larger truth they could not reach. Hints were everywhere, access was nowhere, until a microlab the size of a showbox found a legal, surgical way in. Horus, the fist-wide gateway. When the Ministry of Antiquities finally gave approval to investigate the mysterious void, the challenge was obvious. How do you explore a sealed chamber inside a 4,500-year-old wonder without damaging it? The Great Pyramid isn't just a monument, it's a fragile giant that has endured earthquakes, erosion, and the probing hands of treasure hunters for millennia. One wrong move could have caused irreversible harm. The solution was bold yet delicate, a surgical borehole no larger than a human fist, and through it, a microrobot designed for precision and silence. The machine, nicknamed Horus after the falcon-headed sky god, was no ordinary robot. Roughly the size of a showbox, it carried the tools of a mobile laboratory. Its panoramic high-definition camera could capture details invisible to the human eye. Laser scanners mapped the interior in 3 dimensions, while thermal sensors detected minute variations in temperature, often signs of hidden voids or unseen cracks in the limestone. A flexible cable tethered Horus to the outside world, providing both power and a live feed, ensuring every second of its journey was recorded and studied. It wasn't just an explorer, it was an archaeologist, an engineer, and a witness rolled into one. Even if Horus is ready for action, the actual test is in the pyramid. Ancient stone is unpredictable. The borehole must have been drilled with surgical precision, avoiding natural stress lines in the limestone. To have a hole merely 20 centimeters wide sounds simple, but for a structure weighing almost 6 million tons, even a tiny vibration might provoke shifts that might threaten the integrity of the pyramid. Preparation for rehearsing this one act had been going on for months. Engineers built a full-scale replica of the drilling path and repeatedly inserted the robot into this model until the maneuver was flawless in order to practice this act.